After understanding the key procedures for tea manufacturing, in the following, I will continue to introduce you to the manufacturing process of major tea types in Taiwan. But before that, let's play a small game first.
Here I have compiled and organized some of the major unique teas in Taiwan. The manufacturing process of the first 5 tea types, except for green tea, is only partially different from that of the rest. While white tip oolong tea and black tea are not compared with other tea types because their manufacturing process is different from that of the other tea types. It is recommended that you start with the manufacturing process of the most basic green tea sequentially, so that you will be able to more easily distinguish the differences of manufacturing process of different tea types. The manufacturing process of green tea is the simplest one in all unique teas. The tea leaves of green tea are mainly composed of 1 bud 2 leaves after plucking. It does not need to go through the withering procedure like other tea types. It can be directly panning, but since green tea is not a fermented tea, it is necessary to destroy enzyme activity with high temperature in a short time in order to inhibit the fermentation of the tea leaves. Then the teas are made through the procedure of rolling, mass breaking, and drying sequentially. The tea leaves of the Wenshen Pao Chung tea are mainly composed of 1 bud and 2 to 3 leaves. Its tea manufacturing process is roughly the same as that of the green tea. The only difference is that after the tea leaves were plucked, it needs to go through the process of solar withering, and then it is moved into a room for standing withering and stirring to allow moisture in tea leaves to be moderately evaporated, and fermentation can be carried out, followed by the procedures of panning, rolling, mass breaking, and drying to complete the manufacturing. The differences between the Wenshen Pao Chung tea and green tea are that Wenshen Pao Chung tea needs to proceed more process including solar withering, indoor setting, and stirring. The tea leaves of the high mountain tea are also mainly composed of 1 bud and 2 to 3 leaves. After plucking, their manufacturing process is the same as that of the tea leaves of the Wenshen Pao Chung tea. They also need to go through the procedures of solar withering, indoor setting withering and stirring, panning, rolling, and preliminary drying. The differences are that the teas of high mountain tea needs to be repeatedly fried with panning machines 1 more time at low temperature, and then the tea leaves are shaped into a semi-ball shape or ball shape by means of mass rolling, so that they are convenient for packaging, transportation, and storage. Finally, the teas are dried to complete the whole manufacturing process. The differences between high mountain tea and Wenshen Pao Chung tea are that high mountain tea needs to proceed more processes, including preliminary drying, repeatedly frying, and mass rolling. The tea leaves of the Tongding Oolong tea are also mainly composed of 1 bud and 2 to 3 leaves. The overall tea manufacturing process is roughly the same of that of the high mountain tea. The only difference is that after drying, the tea of the Tongding Oolong tea will be subjected to a roasting process. The roasting temperature needs to be controlled at 80 to 120 degrees Celsius. Roasting time is about 20 to 30 hours. After being modified by roasting, Tongding Oolong tea will produce a pleasant fragrance and sweet taste. The difference between Tongding Oolong tea and high mountain tea is that Tongding Oolong tea has more roasting process. The tea leaves of the Taekwon Yin tea are also mainly composed of 1 bud and 2 to 3 leaves. The overall tea manufacturing process is almost the same as that as the Tongding Oolong tea. The only difference is that after being repeatedly fried, the traditional Taiwan yin tea will be wrapped into square cloth towel to roll into a ball shape, and then placed in a roasting cage and heated by gentle heat, and repeatedly roasted and rolled so that the shape of the teas is gradually bent and tightly formed into a semi-ball shape. The differences between Taiwan yin tea and Tongding oolong tea are that Taiwan yin tea has roasting and cloth process, but Tongding oolong tea does not have. White tip oolong tea uses the tea leaves, mainly composed of one bud, 1 to 2 leaves, that have been sucked by tea smaller green leaf hopper. They must first proceed solar withering, then moved into a room and let them go through standing withering and stirring. And after panning, the tea should be stuffily wrapped and stood in damp cloth for 10 to 20 minutes, so that the teas are rested and returned to wet without thorny feel, then can conduct rolling and drying procedures. The tea fresh leaves of black tea are mainly composed of 1 bud and 2 leaves. The difference between the tea manufacturing process of black tea and that of other tea types is that there is no need to go through the panning process. After plucking, tea fresh leaves can be directly sent into room for withering about 20 hours, followed by rolling, mass breaking, and fermentation. Rolling and fermentation are the keys to the formation of black tea quality. At this time, the tea leaves will complete the transformation of their contents under most suitable conditions to form the unique color, fragrance, and taste of black tea, after the completion of fermentation drying is carried out. In addition, black tea leaves can also proceed the procedures including cutting, screening, wind selection, etc. These are also different from other tea types.
Have you already know the manufacturing process of Taiwan's major tea types? What we are introducing here is only a relatively rough tea manufacturing process. In fact, how much time, strength, duration and degree, etc. in the manufacturing process should be adjusted according to different tea types. This part will wait for you to do further research and study when interested in the future.